The year is 69 AD and Rome is in a civil war. Nero, also known as the guy who burned Rome, was declared enemy of the empire and later committed suicide. This period is also known as the year of the four emperors, with Galba, Otho, Vitelius and Vespasian ruling one after the other. Galba, who was the governor of Hispania, was encouraged to claim the empire during the revolt against Nero and was supported by Otho, who was legate of Lusitania. However, Galba was never accepted by the legions of Upper Germany and they refused to accept him as the emperor. Soldiers of Lower Germany also followed their example and proclaimed their governor Vitelius as the new emperor. Galba was killed by the Praetorian Guard on January the 15th in a conspiracy led by Otho, who was angry for not being selected successor to the throne by Galba. The Praetorian Guard, which had a love for cutting regions of Roman emperors short, were angered by Galba's lack of donations and his purges of officers and soldiers. Galba's advisors were also killed, with their heads later sold or in some cases just given to family members. Now that Galba was gone, Otto was the new emperor, which meant that he got the same benefits that Galba had. Those benefits being the rebellious Lower Germany and Vitelius, who was already marching towards Italy. Otto offered to share the empire with Vitelius but was denied, so he rallied up an army. Their armies clashed at Bedriacum. Otto lost and committed suicide the following day. Apparently he just wanted to stop his country from going more in this path of destruction, and he didn't want any more people to die for him alone, so he chose the honorable way out. This earned him respect among soldiers and he even got a pretty modest funeral, and even a monument dedicated to him. So anyways, now Vitelius is declared the emperor and that is the end of the civil war. Except it isn't. While he had support from Lower Germany and Gaul, Vitelius lacked support from other provinces, and soon enough armies from the eastern provinces declared a new emperor, their commander Vespasian. Later Vespasian gained support from some other legions which firstly wanted to support Otho, but after his defeat swore loyalty to Vespasian against Vitelius. Those and other legions supporting Vespasian were led by General Marcus Antonius Primus. Vitelius sent some legions under General Caecina, who just straight up backstabbed him and tried to join forces with Vespasian, but his soldiers refused to do so and chained him, leaving them with no general. The two evenly sized armies later clashed at Bedriacum, which resulted in Marcus's victory. The battle was exhausting and long, it lasted all night, and in the morning Marcus's men saluted facing east and started cheering, which their enemies misunderstood as if they were greeting reinforcements. Turns around that the 3rd Legion had a tradition of saluting the sun every morning, and a raging battle was not going to stop their tradition. Marcus won the battle and later captured, tortured and killed Vitelius in Rome. Vespasian was soon declared emperor and ruled for 10 years. Emperor Commodus was a bit crazy. Although he was a son of Marcus Aurelius, he was nothing like him. Instead of managing the empire, he was more interested in killing cripples and role-playing as a gladiator. He was such a bad emperor to that point that some people claim Rome's decline began with his rule. So anyways, he was assassinated. Next to the throne was Pertinax. He was pretty good and he tried to implement some reforms and fix the mess created by Commodus. But in the Praetorian fashion of ignoring bad rulers and butchering the good ones, he was killed by the order. After his death, the Praetorians auctioned the imperial title, selling to the highest bidder. Now you might wonder, who would take that offer? The Praetorian Guard is obviously trying to manipulate someone into becoming their marionette. Nobody would accept that. Well, Didius Julianus accepted that offer and bought the title of the empire. He was unpopular, the only people he had support from were the Praetorians, who, let's not forget, killed the previous emperor, so those were not the best people to trust if you're an emperor. He wasn't a great administrator either, he reversed every reform done by Pertinax and the economy plummeted. The Senate was desperate and called on Pescennius Niger, governor of Syria, declared emperor by his troops. Two other governors, Clodius Albinus in Britain and Septimius Severus in Upper Pannonia, also decided to join the rebellion and proclaimed themselves as emperors. Severus was the most dangerous one as he was the nearest to Rome, so Didius tried to get rid of him first. When all attempts to slow him down or fight him failed, Didius offered to share the empire with Severus, but Severus declined. Severus gained more support in Italy the closer he got to Rome, and in the end Didius was betrayed by the Praetorians and was killed on June 2nd, 193 AD after 66 days of rule. His last words are actually quite sad, "But what evil have I done? Whom have I killed?" Anyways, with Didius gone, Severus was basically the emperor. He made an agreement with Albinus and concentrated on fighting Niger, who gained support from Asiatic provinces. After many battles, Niger was defeated, captured and beheaded a year later. The city of Byzantium, however, still refused to give up, even after Niger's head was displayed to them by Severus. The city could not hold forever and was captured in 196 AD. After he defeated Niger, Severus waged war against Albinus, and after a huge battle, both sides had over 150,000 soldiers. Albinus was defeated. Severus showed brutality, killing all followers of Niger and Albinus, killing Niger's family and even riding his horse over Albinus's body. This marked the end of the civil war, which began in 193, which is also known as the Year of the Five Emperors. Well, since I've talked about the Year of the Four Emperors and the Year of the Five Emperors, it's only natural I talk about the Year of the Six Emperors. The year in question is 238 AD, and the current ruler is Maximinus Thrax. He was never really liked by the Senate for his peasant roots, and he returned the favor by killing anyone who he thought was conspiring against him. This led to the Senate accusing him of being a tyrant and rebelling against him. Meanwhile, the governor of Africa, Gordian I, was declared emperor by his followers. Since he was 80 years old, he also made his son, Gordian II, emperor, and the Senate recognized them as joint emperors. They were accepted in most provinces except Numidia, whose governor had a dispute with Gordian I. He gathered up an army and attacked Africa. Gordian II was killed in battle, and his father, having heard of his son's death, hanged himself. Now the Senate was in danger. Their supported emperors were dead, and pissed off Maximinus Thrax was marching towards Rome. So the Senate declared two old members, Pupienus and Balbinus, as joint emperors. They weren't liked by the common people, so Gordian III, who was just 13 at the time, was also declared emperor. That was of course just to please the people. Pupienus was still head of the army and Balbinus was just governing from Rome. Pupienus was sent to face Maximinus, but Maximinus was already assassinated by his soldiers, who were starving and dying from disease. Pupienus and Balbinus spent the rest of their rule arguing against each other and in fear of assassination from each other. I will give you 10 seconds to guess what happened during one of their arguments. A small hint is that argument was their last one. The Praetorian Guard happened. They captured the emperors, stripped, tortured and killed them. Pupienus knew this would happen and tried to get Balbinus to summon the German guard to protect them, but Balbinus just straight up refused, believing this was some sort of a plot against him. Anyways, this marks the end of the Year of the Six Emperors. Gordian III was now the only and true emperor until his mysterious death, but that is a story for another time.